Bill Schneider, thank you very much for joining us at eTail. I really appreciate your time here at the conference.
Thanks for having me.
It'd be great if you could just do a very short intro
Sure.
to yourself and the company for people who don't know CommerceIQ.
Sure. I head up product marketing at CommerceIQ. CommerceIQ is a agentic commerce platform for retail that helps CPG brands operate more effectively on major marketplaces like Amazon, Walmart, and Target, and many other retailers.
Great. And then, so you've just come off a record Q4, 268% quarter-over-quarter AR growth. And then your Ally AI product is right on point in what the market wants and is seeking for AI products used by 3/4 of your accounts. So you're sitting at this great intersection of retail media, e-commerce, and enabling AI at a time when every brand is trying to figure it out and what they should do with their next dollar. So from that vantage point of over 2,000 customers, what do you think the biggest blind spot is for brands approaching retail media in 2026? What should and could they be doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity is really moving towards a model that is measuring incrementality. In many cases, when we're talking with brands, they're over-indexing on ROAS, and ROAS can be easily gamed because ultimately you can spend behind placements where you already have great search rankings.
Yeah.
And so using a solution that measures that real-time incrementality down to the keyword level provides a great visibility into where you're performing well and where you should be spending more, spending less. And then also using an agentic component to it that is using the benefit of algorithmic media to make better purchase decisions at scale.
Yeah, so you can be fast, but also be right with incrementality in terms of making that work.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, being fast and right, those are two great things that you want to have, right? And so you've got one, you want to make sure that you've got a solution that is able to measure incrementality in real time and then making those bid and budget adjustments as the market moves.
So you've been really vocal about incrementality as best practice and this idea that brands are spending on retail media without actually knowing if it's driving true additional revenue versus cannibalizing the sales they would have already got. So there's more retailers launching their own retail media networks. How do you see that landscape evolving? Is true incrementality even possible? And kind of, are you going to be able to help with any of your AI or product innovations you're launching?
Yeah, so the model that we have allows you to measure incremental fraction and how you're applying that dollar for your specific retailers and then across retailers as well. So ultimately, you're really able to determine where you should be placing that next best dollar across your overall retail media portfolio.
Great. And then products that you have in market or bring into market, is there anything there that you think is going to be helpful?
Yeah, so we have 4 new agents that we're bringing into market, one for content, one for the digital shelf, one for retail media that's getting updated, and also a sales agent.
Well, so across all the kind of components that your clients need in running an e-commerce platform.
Yes, we're essentially what we're trying to do is help commercial teams save time. Agents are great for running repeatable tasks at scale in the background so that teams have more time to work on strategy, right? So you can set an agent to create your quarterly business review report or your weekly business review report and then send that out to your executive team. You can use an agent to measure the performance on your PDP page and then make optimizations to the PDP page at the title, description, bullet, and image level that is all optimized for search and AEO. You can have an agent that essentially is defining what bid and budget placements you should make for different goals for your retail media spend. So all of that runs in the background 24/7 and runs those jobs for the commercial teams while they're working on other strategy or working with their retail partners to get better placements.
Yeah, it feels like there's just so much possible that just wasn't possible before. So if you think about that in terms of, you guys have got this huge data bank across all your clients, so the ability to help them all and work out what they need. In terms of how clients work, which part should they be doing in terms of customer insights? Where should they take expertise from their AI agent workers and partners? How do you see that evolving in the way that they'll work with agents?
Yeah, I think that in many cases, instead of having to go into a solution to get a report or a dashboard, interpret that report, do their own analysis, then decide what the action that they should take, they can do it, allow an agent to do that for them. So in our case, we have Ask Ally as is a capability within our platform where you can ask Ally, hey, how are my sales trending according to my plan? Where are their gaps? Where are their weak spots? Provide me with recommendations. And Ally will go back, look at all of your sales data, look at how retail media is impacting sales, how your shelf is impacting sales, what your inventory levels are, and then provide for you within less than a minute a recommendation on what you should consider, right? So the whole nature of how you do your job is going to change. When we actually just did a survey of CPG leaders, and we asked them what was the number one challenge that they had in 2026 that was in obstruction to getting to their goals for 2026. And it wasn't strategic alignment. It wasn't better processes. It wasn't, culture. It was, I have too much data. I too much data and not enough time. So this is where agents really help fill that gap to run jobs, take requests, provide recommendations, make optimizations in certain cases, and then the expert on the human team will make that decision. And that's what we think the future is.
Yeah, so they can do all the mining that takes huge amount of time and pull out where the gold nuggets are and present them to the team. Right?
Exactly.
All that thing that takes forever.
It takes forever, right? I mean, so typically, you'll have a job where you have to update the team the next week about how last week's performance is. And you're going to be staying up on Sunday night, putting 4 or 5 hours together, trying to pull all the data elements together. Now you can just run a job and the report's ready for you on Monday morning when you show up. It's in your template. You've defined exactly what the parameters are, and you can send it out to the team, which allows you to get a good night's sleep and maybe even spend a little time thinking about, what are the strategy elements that you want to implement that week.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of issues with more general agents and hallucinations, and they go off and fill in the blanks when, without controlling them. Your agents are very grounded in your client's data, and I'm guessing that's a concern for clients. And how have you handled that?
Yeah, so there's a couple of points to that. The first is that we've built a retail AI context engine that layers in macroeconomic data, the industry data, category data, brand level data, and retailer data. And so when we work with an account, we deploy a forward deployed engineer. They work specifically with the brand and tune the model to the business so that the outputs are matching what is expected by the commercial leader on the other side. So that's a big part of it because you have to have trust in the data. The other part is providing transparency. So in all of the recommendations that we provide, there is a context layer that explains how the recommendation was made, how it was considered. And so in the case, let's say, of making an update to the PDP page, we will explain that we're recommending adding this keyword because of latest search traffic data, or we're recommending layering in this description text because now we're in a different buying period or buying pattern, or there's new prompt requests that are being made on AEO engines.
Great. So I've got what we call our roast.
Okay.
We're not giving you a roast.
Okay.
Some rapid fire questions. So the first is Amazon's retail media dominance. Is it a tax on brands, or is it still the best ROI in digital?
It's a good tax.
It's a good tax.
It's a good tax. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity on Amazon retail media and the Amazon Retail Media Network, and that's where a lot of traffic and eyeballs are. The key there is having an algorithm to keep pace with the algorithm, right? And that's where the media agent really has an impact.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. The next one, the phrase retail media network, is it overhyped buzzword or is it the future of advertising?
It is the current reality of advertising, and like I said, there's still a lot of opportunity there, and it's growing, it's expanding, using the first-party data that's in the retail media network to expand awareness and interest in commerce media.
Got it. And then AI generated product listings. Is it better yet than human copywriters?
It is with the content agent. Yeah. And I should say it helps level up teams at scale, right? I mean, when you think about typically a brand dealing with 1,000 SKUs, you're typically going to optimize the 20% that's driving your most traffic and revenue. Now with Content Agent, you can do your whole SKU catalog, right? And it's providing you with those recommendations that human teams can take a look at and take a 35-minute task down to 35 seconds.
Got it. Thank you. And then finally, first-party data. Any brands actively using it well, or are they just hoarding it?
Probably a little of both.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the crown jewels, right? Your first-party data around what your customers are interested in and how they're interacting and engaging. That's what you need to be using, and ultimately, through retail media networks, they're making that more and more available.
Great. And then our last drop, just to finish up. So you've spent 20 years building products in the SaaS landscape. You've seen hypes come and go, and there must be some constant wisdoms that you've stuck to. Is there any book or learnings that you would share with the audience that you think is kind of something that you would go back to again and again? The wisdom's still correct.
Yeah. There's so many good ones. The one that comes to mind first is that I go back to over and over again is Steve Blank's 4 Steps to Epiphany. Looking at, just taking a data-driven approach, an experiment-driven approach to building products.
Yeah.
And
get out of the building.
Get out of the building. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the
mantra.
Yeah, that's the mantra. You've read it.
Yeah. So I unfortunately read it after I was failing in my first business. But it helped me catch up in time and start doing it the right way, which is going to speak to your customers and see what they want and give them what they want.
It does sound easy. Yeah, it does. And there's a lot of art actually that comes into figuring out what the real signal is in the data. But the book is a great framework.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for coming and spending time chatting to ClickZ. The business sounds amazing. Can't wait to see what you guys are doing with these agents and see what retailers are doing with it too. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.